Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me as always here. And as always, thank you for your dedication and commitment to your practice, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, and whatever role this particular self-study curriculum plays in that. And that's what this course is. A Course in Miracles is a self-study curriculum, not a religion, not a cult. Ah, so let us all breathe a little bit more easily. This image that you see on your screen that appears to be talking to you is not in charge of you. And thank God. Ah, so again, let us all breathe rather easily while we do and must take responsibility, full on adult responsibility for our experience on the spiritual path. Doing so means we have full on responsibility and ability to awaken. In fact, it's inevitable. The only real question in this is how much time do you want it to take? That's a question for each and every one of us, every moment of every day. So, this course stresses the mind. It's a course in mind training. And if you're new to it, you might think, well, why do I need that? Well, there are many reasons why each and every one of us does need it, because our mind is out of control. Honestly, it's like a car where the brakes have gone out and it's careening at high speed toward a wall or toward a wall of other cars, maybe. Our mind is full of thoughts of judgment, of blame, of hatred, and of separation. And we sit here sometimes and wonder why we're experiencing such suffering, why we don't feel good about life, why we're experiencing ups and downs, why we're anxious, why we're enraged, sad, depressed. We wonder why. And the answer to this is it's our continued adherence to the ego. In other words, it's our continued allegiance to the belief in separation, which is actually not true and is simply a mistake. It's the belief that we are individuals separate from other individuals, separate from other life forms, and separate from God. One separation after another, we look out on the world, and it appears that we look out from here and we see division, warfare, competition in pretty much every arena of life, and multiplicity, and we call it home. Yet we all know, and you do know, that there's more to it than this. Welcome to this course. We're going to spend some time today on a theme that, well, we've been covering. I don't know, you can call it harping on if you want to. That wouldn't be inaccurate at all to call it harping on the theme that you're not a body. I mean, this course repeats it consistently in many places, the text, the workbook, you name it. You are not a body. It certainly looks like you are, and it feels like you are, but deep down, you do know that you are not. There is more to it. So the question right here, while we appear to be here, and this appears concrete and solid and real, and you can pull a muscle or contract a disease or develop a really very serious illness. I mean, you can. Hopefully not, but certainly does happen in the world. This appears concrete, real, and all of that. So how do we have the experience beyond this? Well, it starts in the mind with mind training. So if that doesn't sound sexy and delicious, I get that. Does awakening sound good to you? Does limitlessness sound good to you? Does going home, in a manner of speaking, sound good to you? Does no longer suffering all of the ups and downs that we here experience, does that sound good to you? Well, this is how we do it, is right here, right now, in the present moment, we make a choice, a free election, a decision right here. This choice is free. There is one choice that we make. There are two options, love or fear. In other words, God or the ego, the Holy Spirit or the ego, truth or illusion, light or dark, life or death. Name this whatever you want to name it. It's the choice that we make right now. And our faith in the eternal is always justified. Always. What we truly are. Faith in the eternal is always justified. And deep down, everyone that is on what we call the spiritual path, whatever tradition they practice, I mean, really, whatever you've worked on or practiced or studied in your life up to this point and may still be doing, it's just fine. This course is not intended to be the only thing that you do. It's a self-study curriculum, which may, of course, be used on its own or in conjunction with any other tradition that speaks to you. So, yeah. And whatever calls you, it's self-study. We deep down all know that we're not a body and there's more to it than simply meeting the needs of a compound physical organism that's 80% water and needs to sleep 20 to 30% of its apparent existence. It's a while, actually. And if you live long enough, it's decades that this thing has simply been slumbering. Now, what's happening while this thing is slumbering is, of course, very interesting. Mind doesn't sleep. That's why we appear to dream at night. The mind is active all the time. So it's where we focus our attention, the mind. Mind is the cause. The world that we appear to inhabit is the effect. The body is an effect. And it is not you. I mean, we call it ourselves. And we take a look in the mirror and say, "Oh, I'm having a bad hair day. Oh, yeah, I need to wash this shirt. I need to do this. I need to do that. I have a few more gray hairs today than I did yesterday," which may in fact be the case. And that's just the way that we see things. And as we continue to stick with this and adhere to it, we continue to spin in a circle and suffer. We do. Everyone who enters what we call the spiritual path is seeking the peace of God. We may call it happiness. We may call it a moment of joy or some peace of mind. Yeah, whatever that is. we're all seeking the peace of God deep down. Why the peace of God? It's all there is. This course is, uh, it's one of a very few spiritual traditions in history that states that God is the only reality. Only reality. The body is not who we are. It's an illusion, but you are not an illusion. Very important. You're not an illusion. You're part of the all, capital A. The Son of God is the extension of God, and like extends like. God is the creator, we're the created. He extends himself. So, what do we do with this device? It's a great question. It is, because here we appear to find ourselves, and we need a practical solution. Well, there are a couple of things that we can do. First and foremost, it's very, very important to recognize that the body can be used for love or fear. In and of itself, it has absolutely no purpose. It's an effect. Remember, mind is the cause. So the body has whatever purpose you assign to it. And this is your choice, and it is free. So, do you use this physical organism for the purposes of extending love? Do you use it for the Holy Spirit's purposes? Do you use it to do the will of God, which is your own? Or do you use it to continue to reinforce the idea that we've all been conditioned with, the idea of separation and competition and wars between nation states and global multinational conglomerates and all kinds of stuff, all kinds of complicated stuff that populates this spinning ball of rock and our experience? We have a choice right here in the present moment to choose the strength of Christ as the singular Son of God. We are the Christ. We can choose this, or we can choose further separation. And of course, the things, the world, the stuff that we experience from there kind of naturally follows that, doesn't it? I mean, it naturally follows that if you choose separation and fear, that's what you're going to see. The world's going to show it right back to you. I mean, if you scowl at somebody and yell at them, they might yell back. For example, very simple example, but these are the ones that we tend to need because we're so habitually conditioned to judge and not to forgive. So this course teaches us to forgive. The miracle of true forgiveness, which overlooks all of the separation, apparent separation, bodies to what our brother, other people, really are, to what our brother really is, the Son of God. The barking dog included. So here's something, a digression. It's kind of funny. On Saturday mornings, and this video is being recorded here on a Saturday morning, the neighbors take their small children out on bikes. And Buddy, The dog goes nuts. And as we speak, he's racing out the doggy door to the side yard to continue barking. Yeah. Barking at a young family with small children going past on bikes and tricycles, which illustrates the way we operate too, isn't it? Defining and defending personal territory. Put a dog in a fenced enclosure or in a house, it becomes the property that it must defend at all costs because threats are everywhere. So it thinks. It's a useful visual analogy, isn't it? In truth, there is only perfect oneness. So threat, separation is impossible. In fact, there is no separation of any kind at all. And we can assign the physical body the purpose of love. We can use it to extend love to our brother. We can use it to share the Holy Spirit with our brother. We can use it to do miracles left and right at all times. Miracle worker. Ever thought of yourself as that? You are. Doesn't have to be raising the dead. Doesn't have to be raising yourself from the tomb and walking around and talking to people that knew you just 3 days prior. Doesn't have to be that. Doesn't have to be walking on water. A miracle is any shift at all from darkness to light, any expression of love, even if it's just smiling at the neighbors walking past and wishing them good morning. That's a miracle as much as raising yourself from the dead and going out and speaking and talking to people that knew you 72 hours prior. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. The very first sentence of chapter 1, section 1 of the text. All expressions of love are maximal. Each one is maximal. There's no difference. There's no separation of any kind. All expressions of love are equally powerful. And this is very, very important for us because we can run into the tendency to think that our contributions don't matter, right? Ever felt that way? That, well, I can only contribute this little part today because I'm having a really bad day and I'm stressed out and I got to go to work. And, all I can do is smile and give thanks for a flower or the fact that it's sunny today or smile at my neighbor. Say hello to somebody. Okay, do that. And then do it again in the next moment. Your contributions are equally important. They matter. And this is very important for all of us because we all have these moments, whether you're having one today or not. You have had, and if you haven't, which I doubt, you will, where we think this isn't working, where we think that our contributions are utterly meaningless. How can we ever be like Jesus? How can we ever be like other people that we see who are clearly doing the course, who are clearly getting it and stuff? How can we do that? Well, you can. And it all comes down to right now in the present moment. It's a choice and it is free. Disempowering thought that we all run into. I have no choice. We often think that. We think, okay, well, I really don't have a choice. Yes, of course you do. To refuse to choose is making a choice, and it is making a choice for the ego, in fact. I know. So rather than allow this to frighten you, I invite you to let it lift you up and empower you, that you have the power to choose right now, love or fear? How do you express that? That is between you and your inner teacher, who, by the way, is my inner teacher, and your worst political enemy's inner teacher, our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit. We do this course under the guidance of our inner teacher, who will direct us as to what to do, what to say in every circumstance, if only we let it. Well, if only we let him. That's the invitation. Let him. Give the body, which in and of itself is nothing, the purposes of healing the mind. Use it for the Holy Spirit's purposes. Give it over, in fact, to the Holy Spirit for his purposes. Offer it to him. Use it to extend love. It's an invitation that we all have right now. And because we're so attached to this, the Course repeats these ideas often, over and over again. You're not a body. I'm not a body. Not a single one of us is in truth a body. So what do we do? While we appear to be here, we give it over to the Holy Spirit and use it for the purposes of extending love. Now, as a practical matter in the world, just kind of be normal. Live your life, right? If you like to go to the gym, go to the gym. If you like to exercise, exercise. If you like to eat healthy foods. Why? This is a communication device, and it's important that you maintain it as best you can and live a normal life because people relate to this. This is nothing. It's a pixelated image on your screen, but it is assembled in a form that we can all relate to. Mostly, maybe you're thinking, yeah, I don't really relate to you at all. Okay, no problem. That's absolutely fine, isn't it? But it's a form that we all recognize. A dude, middle-aged dude with gray hair and some black hair still remaining. A form that we can all recognize. It's very important because there are people out there that will respond best to you. There are people out there that you are meant to reach. It doesn't have to be this way with a YouTube channel and broadcasting to a global audience. It doesn't have to be like that at all. But there are people out there that will hear the message of the Holy Spirit best through you. So live your life and keep the communication mechanism going so you can share the love of the Holy Spirit with people so that you can continue to recognize and do your forgiveness work, so that you can continue to recognize each opportunity for true forgiveness and take it and share love. It's who and what you are, after all. Okay, so deep stuff. Welcome if you're new. And if you're a longtime student of the course, yeah, welcome again. Of course, you never know when something's truly going to land for you. Today might be the day where a light bulb goes on, which is why I always invite people to listen to each course conversation, whether it's on this channel or anywhere else, all the way through. If you're reading a section of the course, read it all the way through because you never know. You don't. You never know when that proverbial light bulb's going to come on. And something that once perplexed you and you thought, what the is this thing even saying? What is this even saying? I don't get it. Well, maybe one day, today, maybe you do. So you never know. You just don't know. So it's an invitation to all of us to keep with it. Now, along the way, you have lots of help. First and foremost, you have the help of the Holy Spirit, your inner teacher, and you may call this whatever you want. You can call it your guide or guides, Jesus, Holy Spirit, same thing. You may call your guide, whatever you want to, or plural names and call it your counsel if you want. That's fine. Why does that not matter? Because names are, well, they're simply labels that we made up. They're not the thing that they stand for anyway, which we don't often think about when we become really attached in the world to our own name, for example. Yeah. So I thank you, as always, for joining me, and please feel welcome to ask questions. This is a very, very good place to do so right here on the comment thread on YouTube. And if you have not yet subscribed, I'd love to have you join us. Please go ahead and do that. This is the prompt here in the corner of the screen. When you click that, you'll be invited to join us. Please do. Several videos appear each week. And again, questions, if you have them, are more than welcome. I'll talk to you soon.